Hello and welcome to this meditation. And as we start, I want to say something about mindfulness that I found very kind of invaluable. Sometimes mindfulness is a little bit more cognitive. It's a clear knowing and recognition of what's happening in such a way that the knowing, the recognition is freeing. So that knowing needs to be calm, peaceful, or in other words, that knowing is not sticky with what is known, does not clinging and holding on or resisting. Very simple, peaceful knowing. Sometimes mindfulness involves feeling and sensing, really sensing what's there. It's more embodied, being present in an embodied somatic way. And that also, to really have its full, we get the full benefit of it. That sensing and feeling is also done peacefully, calmly, where the feeling is independent of our preferences, our reactivity, our being for and against it. So the feeling in a way that's freeing. And the third profound way of mindfulness is to see clearly. And to see is not to, using the metaphor of seeing, it's a kind of way of perceiving with the inner eye in a sense. When we look at something, the looking in and of itself, in terms of, something in nature, some object, we don't interfere with it. We're not impacting it usually normally. It's just seeing doesn't get entangled in and of itself. And so seeing is maybe sometimes easier as a metaphor or a way the mind works. To see is somehow freeing. But the thing that's profound about seeing is that seeing is a profound way in which people feel appreciated, seen. To be really seen by someone is really meaningful. Love is conveyed. Belonging is conveyed. Respect is conveyed in how we can see others and how we see ourselves. Children who are not seen growing up don't feel loved. So to sit today, seeing ourselves through the eyes of love, or seeing ourselves through the eyes of respect or care. There's a way of seeing that doesn't have to add much at all to it. Just clear seeing, non-reactive seeing. Willing to see ourselves without judgment, without opinions and stories. Maybe even a certain kind of way to see us without a past or a future. To see ourselves just as we are now, in such a way that the heart recognizes something profound here. So to assume a meditation posture, a contemplative posture. I like to think of it as a posture that for you, from the inside, is the posture you would offer to someone that you're going to wordlessly show up, gaze upon, see, recognize, so that they feel like you're there fully for them, to see them, maybe to love them, to care for them, to So assuming a meditation posture and gradually closing your eyes. Feeling deep into your body, your torso. And then gently taking a few fuller in-breaths and relaxing as you exhale. Fuller in-breaths and releasing the body as you exhale. And letting your breathing return to normal. As you breathe in, to feel your thinking mind, thinking muscle. And as you exhale, relaxing the thinking mind. Releasing the thinking mind. And if there's any tension associated with thinking about the past, any pressure associated with thinking about the future, as you exhale, see if you can relax the tension and pressure. Letting the sensations of the thinking brain expand into the edges, into the space beyond the brain, beyond the head. Lots of room. And then perhaps like a leaf, flat leaf that gently floats through the air down to the ground. Allow your awareness to settle into your body, all the way down to what might feel like the floor of your torso. The floor from which breathing begins. With a light touch, not trying too hard. See if you can perceive or see yourself breathing. See the breathing, the sensations of breathing, the movements of breathing. And see it with such simplicity, with such sense that this is what there is to really care for by seeing it. That maybe it's almost like love. sitting quietly. As you exhale, settling more into your body, into the surface that holds your weight. Softening, relaxing the thinking mind. And then with the mind's eye, with some imagination or without, see all of yourself here. Maybe stepping back or in front of yourself or having a bird's eye view. And gaze upon yourself kindly. With the simplest, clearest way of seeing yourself. Where seeing is a form of love, respect, seeing yourself as whole, as worthy of love or care or kindness. Gaze upon yourself kindly. And then, as if your mind's gaze could enter into your body, to be intimate and close to breathing, where you still see yourself kindly, centered on the breathing, as if breathing is the doorway, the gateway, through which seeing, love, care travels deep inside of us. Gaze upon yourself kindly with every inhale and exhale. And maybe shifting from thinking to seeing, to loving, because it feels and feels so much better to see than it does to be caught up in thoughts. So much better to gently, kindly love or care for you here now, than to wander off in thoughts and judgments, stories. And as we come to the end of this sitting, to settle back into your eyes, into your mind, into your heart, and gaze upon yourself kindly. There might be particular things that you find challenging about yourself, but step back and have a broad, wide view. See yourself as you'd be seen by someone who could see your whole, saw you as whole, as complete. Maybe someone who sees you with care and love, even with the challenges you might have. And as if the next 4 or 5 breaths are like waves, gentle waves of seeing, loving, that washes over you. Let this love or care wash over you with the next few breaths. And then turn your gaze out into the world, out into over the lands, to the very humanity of humanity, to gaze upon this difficult world of ours, seeing the whole, seeing how love, and to really see clearly, is medicine. It may be the very nutriment the world needs. Gaze for the next few breaths, let there be waves of love flowing from the inhales and exhales, comings and goings, for the whole world. Continuing with the waves of love, kindness. Let the last words of these phrases of goodwill, let the sentiment of these last words spread out across the lands. Maybe by repeating the word in your mind. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. And may the ways in which you gaze upon others be the channel, the means by which your care, your love, your respect travels. May we look on all people with goodwill. Thank you. So hello and welcome to this second talk where I'm giving this week that I'm sharing some stories from that were important for me in my journey through Buddhist practice. And today I want to talk about how important it was that certain people saw me, that I felt really seen by them in particular ways. And I had no idea at the time that the way that they were looking upon me and seeing me was having any real lasting impact. Or I think I didn't exactly take it for granted, but I maybe was clueless. I didn't understand what was happening with me, or didn't have enough self-understanding to really see the impact of these things. But in retrospect, I've come to appreciate that these were turning moments in my life. The first that it was when I first started going to the San Francisco Zen Center. I'd been practicing. I was living in a college town an hour or two away and visiting periodically. And I was kind of practicing Zen meditation every day. And in my social life on campus, I didn't know it at the time exactly, but I was playing social games. I was kind of behaving in ways to and talking about things in order to get people's approval. I have people like me, and so I was trying to present myself in a certain way. And so then I went to the Zen Center, and I continued doing the social selves, what I called social games, social kind of way of presenting myself to try to make an impression. And to my surprise, there was no response. There was no going along with it. There was no picking it up and reinforcing it. And I just was kind of stunned that, and I got to see myself more clearly. I saw what I was doing. And I thought, this is invaluable to have this support, these mirrors, to see myself. And that's one of the reasons I went then to live at Zen Center, was to be around people who would mirror what I was doing that I didn't want to do anymore. And then I was there living at Zen Center I'd probably been living there for been in the community for maybe about 9 months. And a close relative got very sick. And maybe was going to die. It didn't end up dying. It still, but it was quite distressing, concerning. And there was one of the Zen students there who was just another practitioner, was not ordained as a Zen monk yet, and some 20 years later became the abbot of Zen Center. But I was standing in the pathway talking to him about my relative and what was going on. And I'd never experienced someone who looked upon me with such genuine, caring compassion. There was he wasn't trying to exactly fix me or make me feel better, or he really listened and he gazed at, and there was so much compassion in how he was present for me that I certainly felt at the time, somehow I recognized it and felt it was somehow nice. But that was the beginning, I think, and I look back now at the same kind of capacity, I'm not same, but my own capacity for compassion to be awakened. And the Zen practice really brought it to the forth to become extremely, extremely important. So how he looked upon me was so valuable. And then as I was practicing at the Zen Center and struggling with my kind of human struggles, and I would go see some of the teachers there, and there was ways in which they saw me. Sometimes they didn't give me advice. They didn't try to be my teacher and teach me something, but there was a remarkable way, which in retrospect, that they just kind of affirmed me. They kind of appreciated me. They said, "Good, your practice is good. Your things are good," and I don't know. I can't remember well how exactly they did that, but I remember that it was very clear that, and I don't think I would have continued practicing or had confidence on my own to keep practicing without this encouragement, this simple way of being seen and recognized of appreciation, or that things were good with me, even though things were hard. It was so good to be seen that way that it kept me again practicing. It made it very encouraging to keep doing this practice that in some ways required quite a bit from me. And then there was this moment where I spent about 3 years living at the monastery deep in the mountains, where everything was choreographed, not everything, but there was a lot of how you stood, what you did with your hands when you're standing, when you're walking in the meditational, you had to walk in a certain way, a lot of bowing, a lot of way of sitting, a lot of way of eating. It's all kind of ritual, choreographed theater in a sense of mindfulness, of attention, of really being there. And so what it meant was that there was no choice exercised except to go along with all these ways of being. And I brought a lot of attention, a lot of mindfulness to my experience. But when I left after 3 years, that choreographed way of living was no longer present. And to my surprise, I saw that there was a lot of choice. And even before I would sit in a chair, I just sat in a chair. But now, if I sat in a chair, I realized there was a lot of choice. The monastery had to sit a certain way, and it wasn't I had to sit that way again, but I saw there was choice. Do I slump? Do I relax back? Do I sit upright? Do I cross my legs? All these little choices that were unconscious before. And I saw my day was filled with choices that I didn't get busy with or stressed by. It was the opposite. It actually allowed me to see how through the day I could find my peace, find my presence, find how to be present in a good way that just felt clear and wasn't giving in to impulses that I didn't really want to live by anymore. So I went to the abbot we had this very formal way in Zen to meet with the abbot. You do a lot of bowing, you have to sit down cross-legged opposite him, each sitting in kind of cross-legged full meditation posture. Maybe knees are about 15 inches apart. So very present, very, and very formal, and I explained this to the abbot, that what it is, all this choice I had. And when I finished, he did something very unusual. He kind of broke out of the pattern of Zen, of Japanese Zen, of bowing, of this formality, how to be, this choreographed way. I explained to him, and he reached his hand forward to shake my hand. It was like this was his way of saying, "Great, this is really good." That's all he did, and and uh, and I took it as so kind of encouraging. Oh, this is, I've been approved here. What I've discovered is this is the way to go. And again, this was so supportive to have that. And then the last story, they tell a lot of stories about being seen, but this is one of the valuable things about living in a like a practice community, at a Buddhist center, to practice among other people and teachers who have been practicing for a long time, is that there's so much happens in the relationship there, that it's in the relationship that so much can happen that maybe is not going to happen in meditation, private meditation for oneself. And so the relational is such an important field of practice. So I'll tell you the last story. So I was practicing, and hopefully this is not, you'll appreciate this. So I went to Thailand for the first time and a little bit stumbled myself into a insight vipassana retreat. I was a Zen monk in Thailand, and I just had to be there for visa reasons to go back to Japan. And I just went to check out the vipassana center. And I said, I'm here to kind of learn what you want to do. And the abbot said, until my visa comes for Japan. And the abbot gave me a little hut on the edge of the monastery over the rice fields. So he said, you go out there and just practice all day long. And he gave me instructions, and every day come to see me. And so I did, and it took me 10 weeks to realize the visa wasn't coming. And for 10 weeks I waited in the monastery. So the 10 weeks was kind of a accidental vipassana retreat. The longest I'd ever done a retreat before was for a week. So 10 weeks was a long time. And in somewhere early in that retreat, I had the idea that I was supposed to follow this very strict schedule, maybe because I had been doing Zen practice, of just sitting and walking, practicing all day long, and that's what I should always be doing. And so I was doing that mostly, but then one day I decided to take a break, and I was just walking casually around the monastery. And who should come walking was the abbot. And we were kind of walking perpendicular to each other, and so I was kind of heading towards him, right at him, but he was going 90 degrees the other way. And he was maybe 40 feet away, maybe. And so, it's like, uh-oh, I'm going to get busted. Uh-oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Like in Zen monasteries, you have to follow the schedule strictly. And I thought, oh, now I'm in trouble. And he turned to look at me, turned his head towards me, looked at me, and he clearly saw me, that I saw. But there was something about how he saw me. It was almost like he saw right through me, because he saw me, but there was no judgment, no concern, no unhappiness, he didn't flinch, he didn't raise an eyebrow. It was like seeing fully without anything extra, anything that judgment, any concern, any for or against. And it was remarkable for me to feel. I don't actually know what was going on in his head, but maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I misunderstood his gaze. But for this very experienced practitioner, vipassana practitioner, teacher, maybe he had the capacity to just see clearly without any judgments, without any bias, any feeling of right and wrong. Just see. I was just seeing. And that helped free me from myself. To be seen that way, so, oh, this is possible. And maybe I can see myself that way too. And that was one of the invaluable things that happened on that first Vipassana retreat. So, to be seen, stories of being seen, and maybe this is not, these kinds of stories are not often talked about in Vipassana because we're often giving instructions of how you can practice. But being seen, being in relationship, and being seen in ways that brings compassion, brings support, brings appreciation, brings affirmation, brings showing the possibility of freedom, which is what the first abbot I had in Thailand showed me by the way that he gazed upon me. So may you be gazed upon with love, may you seen with love, but don't wait for others to do it. Be sure to do it for yourself. You can do it. I'm sure you can do it, and I'm sure you're worth it. I'm sure you're whole. I'm sure that it'd be wonderful for you to gaze upon yourself kindly, fully. Thank you.